expected to benefit around 14.43 lakh farmers across the state, according to government estimates. The revision comes just weeks after the government unveiled a 2,044 crore rupee farm relief package. The original scheme offered a complete waiver of loans up to 50,000 rupees with graded relief for higher loan slabs. Under the revised announcement, cooperative crop loans of up to 75,000 rupees will now be fully waived off, broadening the coverage and increasing the quantum of relief. Remember, this also marks a very significant fulfilling of the promise that Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Joseph Vijay made on the campaign trail to cover up and waive off farm loans for farmers in Tamil Nadu. So, an upward revision there, a fulfillment of Vijay's whole promise on the campaign trail. It's a move that could well see the Andhra Pradesh government actually make good on its rare earth material focus. In fact, Proterial, we're told, will be investing close to 2,520 crore rupees towards actually going about setting up a rare earth magnet manufacturing unit in the state. The project, remember, is expected to strengthen India's domestic supply chain for high-value magnets used in electric vehicles, electronics, and clean energy sectors. The investment, remember, also dovetails the centre's 7,280 crore rupee rare earth permanent magnet manufacturing scheme, which aims to create close to 6,000 metric tons per annum of integrated magnet making capacity. Remember, Andhra Pradesh is also one of the 4 states identified for dedicated rare earth corridors, according to the Union Budget 2026-2027. Moving on to Bengaluru next, developer Shriram Properties has just inked a joint development agreement for a total of 9.1 acres in the northeast region of the city. This essentially means that the developer will develop a land parcel in Dodagubi in northeast Bengaluru, where it plans to build a premium residential apartment project. The development is expected to have a saleable area of around 6.7 lakh square feet and an estimated GDV, or a gross development value, totaling to a whopping total of around 600 crore rupees. Now, the project, remember, is slated for launch in the current financial year itself, according to the company's asset-light expansion strategy as far as Bengaluru is concerned. Now, the latest deal, remember, also strengthens Shriram Properties' presence in one of Bengaluru's fastest-growing residential corridors, with the company continuing to focus on JDA-led growth rather than outright land acquisitions. Moving on to Tamil Nadu next, Tamil Nadu has laced up another big manufacturing win. South Korean footwear giant TKG Taekwang India has received approval to invest 514.7 crore rupees in the first phase of its project at the Navalpattu SEZ near Trichy. The company plans to eventually scale up its investment to about 1,379 crore rupees, with the export-oriented non-leather footwear facility expected to create a total of 13,364 jobs at full capacity. The project will come up on 68.8 acres of land identified by ELCOT that located within the Special Economic Zone. Moving on, liquor prices in Tamil Nadu could see another hike, with the state's 11 distilleries and 7 breweries seeking a revision in procurement prices paid by TASMAC. The industry cites rising input costs and fresh government levies, including an additional 90 rupees, 40 rupees and 20 rupees per carton across different categories. The demand comes after excise and sales tax hikes in 2022 and 2024, which pushed retail prices by up to 40 rupees for regular liquor and up to 100 rupees for premium brands. Manufacturers say they have absorbed higher costs so far, but are now seeking a procurement price revision. Moving on, the school day in Telangana will now begin with breakfast. Taking a cue from Tamil Nadu's long-established free breakfast scheme, the Telangana government has launched a breakfast and milk scheme for government schools and junior colleges. Covering nearly 29 lakh students from pre-primary to class 12, the scheme will see an annual outlay of around 720 crore rupees. The menu in turn will include local favorites like idlis, dosas, pongal, upma and ragi, along with milk on select days. Now, the move, remember, highlights a growing trend in South India where welfare is increasingly centered around public education and student nutrition. After Tamil Nadu's breakfast program, Telangana is now taking the concept a step further by extending it to junior colleges as well. And on that note, we'll slip into a short break, but on the other side, we'll have more from South Central when we return. So keep staying tuned to ET Now. Welcome back. You're watching South Central with me, Jude Sanat. This is the show that brings you up to speed with everything making news in South India across businesses, boardrooms, politics, and a whole lot more. Moving on to our big story of the day, India's demographic story is entering a new phase. For the first time, the country's total fertility rate, or TFR, has slipped below the replacement level of 2.1, settling at 1.9 children per woman, according to the latest sample registration system report. Now, while India's population is still expected to grow for some decades because of population momentum, experts say the shift marks a major turning point for the world's most populous nation. The trend is especially pronounced in South India, where fertility rates have been below the replacement level for years now. The latest figures show that Tamil Nadu and Kerala at about 1.3 children per woman, Karnataka and Telangana at 1.5, and Andhra Pradesh at 1.6 are all well below the 2.1 replacement threshold. In contrast, Bihar remains the highest at 2.9, followed by Uttar Pradesh at 2.6, underlining the widening demographic divide between the country's northern and southern states. Experts attribute the decline to a combination of rising education levels, greater access to contraception, increasing participation of women in the workforce, delayed marriages, and the growing financial cost of raising children. Better healthcare and lower infant mortality have also reduced the need for larger families. But for southern states, the conversation is also increasingly shifting beyond population control to questions around delayed parenthood, an aging society, and the growing demand for fertility and assisted reproductive services. While lower fertility rates often reflect social and economic progress, they also bring fresh challenges. A shrinking birth rate, for instance, could eventually lead to an aging population, labor shortages, and increased pressure on healthcare and social security systems. At the same time, fertility specialists say lifestyle factors, delayed parenthood, and rising infertility are becoming increasingly important pieces of that conversation. So to understand what this demographic transition means, not just for the economy, but also for families and reproductive health in South India, we're now joined by Dr. Kritika Devi, a clinical director at Nova IVF Fertility. Dr. Kritika, firstly, thank you so much for making time on South Central today. You heard some of those statistics. The country's fertility rate has now fallen well below that replacement level of 2.1. Now, from a fertility specialist perspective, how significant is this milestone, and what does it tell us really about changing family patterns in the country?
First, I would like to extend my thanks for giving me this opportunity to discuss about this most important topic. A big change from where we were thinking about population control, and now we are looking at fertility decline. I would say this changing scenario is mainly due to the improved education, awareness to contraception, and family planning. From a fertility perspective, the concern about fewer births may be because of informed choices made by the couples. But what I am concerned would be they start their journey at an advanced stage which has its own problems.
Right. Now, ma'am, I have to ask you, as far as South Indian states are concerned, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Telangana, Andhra, they have some of the lowest fertility rates in the country as on date. Now, are you seeing this reflected in your practice as well, through couples perhaps choosing to have children later in life? Is that the primary part of the problem that we're dealing with today?
Very relevant question, I would say. As a person who's been into this field for almost more than 2 decades, I see a significant shift for the age in which they approach us. Earlier, it used to be late 20s or early 30s, whereas now my patients are mostly in the age group of late 30s or even early 40s. So this is a significant change that I'm seeing in my OPDs. I would attribute it to the career growth, the financial planning, the lifestyle aspirations that influence the family building timelines. Especially, I see this trend in the metros where they either postpone their first child or they limit to just one child. So, while delayed parenthood is a personal choice, the biological clock remains unchanged.
Right. Now, ma'am, how much of this decline that you're actually seeing in your practice is a matter of personal choice? You know, people marrying later or opting for smaller families. And in contrast, how much of it is being driven by rising infertility and lifestyle-related factors? What is the ratio of choice versus lifestyle factors being associated with perhaps delayed childbearing or childlessness, so to speak? Is there a ratio of choice versus lifestyle factors playing an important factor in these statistics?
Yes, thank you for this most important question. Although both factors play a role in this, I would attribute it more towards the personal and social causes rather than infertility. Mainly the delayed age at marriage, delaying parenthood, women's education and workforce participations are major contributors. So what happens is when they approach us, they approach late, and age has got an important impact on both the egg and the sperm. You are leaving out the male counterpart. Even men have a declining potential as age progresses. So both play an important part, more so towards the social causes.
Right. But do you also see a situation where many younger professionals believe they can simply rely on medical advances, should they choose to delay actually having children? Is that a misconception, or do you think that belief is well and truly here to stay, and that's part of the reason why a lot of couples are choosing to have children late? So, for example, what should people in their late 20s or early 30s understand about age and fertility, given that these choices are actively being made at this time and place?
Yeah, most important question for the younger generation today. I'm glad you brought it up. Yes, medical advances have transformed fertility care, but they cannot completely overcome the impact of age. Today, there is so much awareness on cardiac health, skin health. The essential to be aware of fertility health also is equally important. Female fertility generally declines in the early 30s and declines more significantly after 35. And a lot of research has shown that Indian women age more early than their Western counterparts. And this reflects in their AMH levels and egg quality, not only the number, the quality also comes down. So this becomes a restricting factor. So I feel fertility awareness should be part of the long-term life planning, just like financial planning. So we are observing a rise in queries related to social egg freezing by the younger generation, and it's recommended only if absolutely necessary.
And Dr. Kritika, how do you go about raising awareness, given the fact that you yourself have just said that you're seeing these misconceptions and this tendency exist? How does one go about increasing awareness on these factors when it comes to actually having kids and the right time to do it? What are the ways and means of spreading awareness, ma'am?
I think it should be started much earlier. See, what happens is the woman comes to us at age 38 or 40 and tells us, I want to preserve my fertility, please do egg freezing. Remember, even when we do egg freezing, the right age to do it is much earlier. The outcomes are much better when they do it earlier than in their late 30s. So this awareness, I think, should be started in the younger generation, even in their college age, when women are in their college or in their 20s, there should be an awareness about what happens to their fertility potential in their later age. So it can be through webinars, it can be direct, where we go to the college or give awareness to the younger population. And yes, people like you with a lot of impact on the social media can be of great help.
Right. But I want to talk to you a little bit about lifestyle factors and whether or not they play a significant role in impacting fertility and childbearing, and in a sense. Are there particular lifestyle changes? For example, we read about stress, long working hours, diet, pollution, or even other factors for that matter that are contributing to fertility challenges, especially in urban centers like Bengaluru, Chennai, and Hyderabad. And do these have a role when it comes to, having kids late or perhaps not having children at all? How important are lifestyle factors as part of the overall jigsaw here?
Absolutely. I feel right now, obesity and your diet and lifestyle factors have a greater impact. Why? For example, obese women is at a higher risk for developing PMOS, that is polycystic ovarian disease. The latest name is PMOS. So what happens is she increases the risk of infertility, and diet and lifestyle have got a greater impact on it. And remember, even in men, the same lifestyle factors affect their fertility, especially on the sperm parameters. And I find this trend more in the urban population. Mainly, they delay parenthood, and as you rightly said, they think with treatment, anything is possible at any time.
Right. And so what would your advice then be for couples who are looking to stay healthy, give birth at an appropriate age, perhaps not too early, not too late? Would you advise visiting a dietitian at the earliest possible, taking care of their fitness? What do you think would be the need of the hour for couples who want to have children and not postpone that decision?
As you rightly said, the first thing is awareness that we are running against time, and fertility is a race against time. One. And as you again rightly said, diet and exercise play a major role. Not only, I would say, women in their 30s, I find this trend even in young girls, school-going girls, where there is an increase in the obesity and they reflect it as irregular periods and other problems. So definitely diet, lifestyle plays a major role. It's what we eat is what we are.
Right, like they say, you are what you eat. So if childbearing, I guess, is a priority, I think taking care of your diet and fitness, like you rightly mentioned, doctor, would be right on top of someone's priority list. Now, let's talk about South India for a bit. The region has been below the replacement fertility rate for quite some time now. In fact, there is an old statistic, the fact that Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Chennai, and of course the 5 states, including Kerala, have actually seen low fertility and replacement rates for a long time now. What long-term social or healthcare trends should be watching out for as this pattern here in the South becomes all the more pronounced with time? What do you think will be the fallout of TFR being so low in the 5 southern states?
I'm looking at a decade or 2 decades ahead, where we may have an aging population earlier than many other regions, especially in the south part of India. And as fertility rates remain below replacement levels, we can expect a growing elderly population and a shrinking workforce, and probably an increased demand for healthcare and elder care services. So what happens is we would see an increase in the non-communicable disease levels like diabetes, cardiovascular disease, malignancies, that is cancer, and dementia. They will dominate the disease burden. So this is what we will be tackling more in the future. From a reproductive health perspective, I feel fertility awareness about fertility preservation and timely intervention will become increasingly important. So as policymakers, employers, and healthcare systems, we need to adapt to this changing demographic realities.
Right, ma'am. Well, like you rightly said, I think it's time that India takes a good hard look at its total replacement rate and its total fertility rates as well, given all the risks that are associated with a population in decline, especially a population that could run the risk of aging should the decline continue. On that note, Dr. Kritika Devi, great speaking with you. Thank you so very much for joining us on South Central to share some of those insights with us. Great having you on the show, ma'am.
Thank you. Same here.
Well, with that, it's a wrap on the bulletin today. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow with more news and updates from South India. For the moment, it's goodbye.